So, what have I missed? Or rather, what have you missed? It's been a while and we need to catch up. What is up, guys? My name is Ark and it has been a while. First and foremost, thank you so much if you are still subscribed to my channel. I fully appreciate that it has been far too long. There are many reasons as to why, and we'll get into just a few of them in a moment. But if you are still on my channel, thank you very much for sticking with me. If you're coming back to my channel for the first time in a while, welcome back. It's great to have you. So, what have I been doing for the past 6 months or so? It's honestly been the craziest journey. What are the core building blocks of community leagues? What are community leagues designed to do? And we realized there were 3 areas of focus which we had to maintain our sights on, which were the players, first and foremost, the viewers, and the casters, the people that are putting those pro players on that platform in the spotlight. Today, I'm really privileged to announce that we are creating a brand new generation of community league. We have, in my opinion, looked at all the things that are currently not being done and solved a lot of the major issues that have been underpinning community leagues for like the longest time. And just before we get into the really cool stuff, one big, huge thank you to Supercell. Just trusting us with your game to create something as potentially big as this could be for our community is an amazing thing. I don't think people can really fully ever understand how much we value your support as content creators. Without further ado, I guess, welcome everybody to the BLE.
Don't touch my canary! No!
Just to say before we start that our social media is now all live. Go to the description, there is a link to our Twitter where you can keep up with all the latest announcements for the casting team, the players, the teams, the orgs, all that good stuff is there. Smash a follow. Next up is our Discord. That is where the party is at currently. When you arrive, you can assign yourself the emoji of your country's flag, and that will open up a general chat in the language that you speak. We didn't want to have one general chat with people having conversations over each other in different languages. It's a small detail, but it is a huge step into bringing our communities together, so make sure that you do that. Next up is the Matcherino, which is a website which will directly fund the player prize pool with your donations, with incentives and really cool perks that you guys can earn and receive. Go and check those things out. I will leave also, I think I say later in the video as I came back to record this bit, that the timestamps were going to be in the description. I will place them in the comments. I will pin the comment to the top, and that will help break down everything we're going to discuss. Okay, so first things first, let's just talk a little bit about the iconography. Some of you may have realized that this league has a focus around the EU, and that is true. The players in this league, at least for season 1, will be from the EU. But let me just explain why that doesn't exclude anyone from anywhere else and what we are trying to achieve, as that's super important. A lot of people may think it's because we don't care about players that are outside of the EU, and it's the exact opposite of that. It's because we care about everyone. And the main thing about building something and trying to increase exposure for the players, for the viewers, and bridging all of those things together with the casting team is because we want the biggest platform possible in a community league for the players and the viewers. So for those players that are outside of the EU, maybe you don't realize this, but it's actually a big elephant in the room. Language. Language barrier for us is something that if we can crack at the very beginning of our birth, then we are on to a really, really good place for the future. Again, it's not because we don't care, it's the exact opposite. We care about all of you. So if we can establish a bridge between language, a way to connect with the entire community, all on the same level, it's going to make everything better for everyone. Quality for us is of the utmost importance. A better quality production allows the players to be seen in the best light possible, and viewers deserve something that is polished, something that is refined, and something that excites them. That is the difference between a viewer clicking and staying or clicking off a live stream. And the casters themselves need something that is an extension of their content, something that is high in quality to want to be involved in. So we knew that that had to be built into the very core of our idea, and I'm really pleased to say I'm so proud of what we have created, and many people have played a key role in that process. Huge shout out to Senny, Carlo. I will leave links in the description. Make sure you check them out. They are responsible for our animations, our overlays. I cannot begin to tell you what a journey it has been from the very early stages. So much back and forth, so much patience, so much creativity working with those two individuals. Please show them love. We could not have done this without them. One game mode in particular that we saw a pattern emerging when listening to the viewers and the players was that for the most part everyone tended to agree that Bounty just didn't quite translate competitively in its current state. So we had to go to the drawing board and think, how can we amend Bounty but not change the way that players play Bounty? At the moment, it's so easy to be defensive. You don't want to be the guy to throw the game and cost your team the victory. And in those later stages, in those final seconds, players will tend to spin and call a rematch and just accept the draw to replay. And we didn't want any more draws in Bounty, and we think we solved it. I say we. Spider, who is one of the executive admins on the team, came up with a fantastic solution. And what we did was we assigned the middle star a value. So let's call that the advantage. If your team are the first to collect the middle star, you hold the advantage. In the results of a draw, it is the team that collected that middle star that will win the game. And that is a very clever thing, because what that does is it encourages conflict and action, and that is the thing missing from Bounty. At the beginning of the game, teams will have to decide to be aggressive over the star. Do they even value that advantage? It might come back to haunt them if they don't fight for it. You will get more deaths, more kills, more to and fro. And in the final seconds, if it is a draw and you were the team that collected that star, you're going to have to be on the defensive. And the team that didn't collect the star, they've got nothing to lose. They are going to be absolutely coming for you. One thing that players were very passionate about was with regards to the topic of BM. So spinning in game can be seen in many different lights. It can be used as a way to say hi to someone that you know and respect, or it can also be used to get inside the heads of your opponent. If you do a really strong game, then some people will use that as a way to kind of like relish that victory and make the other team feel very bad about that. And it encourages stress, it encourages conflict. These are all the things that we want to kind of minimize in our concept. We don't want players to be leaving with a negative feeling towards another player, another team. It makes absolute sense, having listened to everyone discuss this, that we ban BM. Kairos has finally got his way. We're stopping the spin. Just to define what BM is spinning, BM is lag walking. A trick shot in Brawl does not, in my opinion, classify as a BM. It's actually sometimes used to score in a very complicated situation, and it actually makes sense to use a fence or something to ricochet the ball from. But It just didn't make sense to us, and the viewer especially cannot tell what the relationship is between those players and whether it's meant in a playful way or meant in a malicious way. So we want at the core of this to be about players' skill. Nothing else. No mind games, no trolling, just if you're good enough, you'll win the game. That was the bottom line for us. So we know that some people may feel negatively about that decision, but hopefully everything else around this whole concept makes the most sense. We are trying to encourage a positive and fair playing field for everyone. That is at the heart of what our intentions are. But let us know down in the comments what you think about that decision. One of the best things about Brawl, hands down for me from day one, was that the game can change hands at any moment. There can be so many amazing moments that we just want to see back again. So live replays will be a thing in our community league. It's actually quite a simple process, and I will teach the casting team how to do that. I want to see back those moments where the game had something that was just incredible. I want to also use our social media presence to highlight those plays, to tag the players in person, to give them that exposure and to let them see what they did again and again and again. Live replays are a thing. I think that's awesome. One big thing that Whitey mentioned to me, which I thought was a really valid thing, is that some maps in Brawl just don't translate into competitive. Hideout, for example, in Bounty is no longer around, but there was a definite lack of symmetry. If you spawned on one side of the map, you had an advantage over your opponents, and there was no way to control what side you were going to spawn on. So I'm really pleased to say that we are going to incorporate seasonal map bans, maps that will not be in the rotation, and I loved that idea. In fact, some of the best ideas that have come together to create this community league, I wish I could take credit for, and I'm not even going to begin to try, because that is the beauty of what we are doing. Listening to people's ideas has been one of the most fulfilling things in this creative process. It has made us change directions so many times and reconsider ourselves time and time again. So our goal is to have a reach that covers the entirety of Europe. And we already have a really exciting casting team ready to roll, but I don't want to spoil too much too soon. There's probably some content creators that you pretty much aware of that are already involved, but nevertheless we are still looking, however, though, for content creators and casters in areas like the Balkans and Germany and Russia. So if you know a content creator that you think should be involved in this league, let them know, let us know, let's see what we can make happen. For us, viewership reach is just immensely important in growing this into something really special. The tournament will be crowdfunded, which is basically where people donate towards the player prize pool. And a big area of focus for us was how can we make those incentives just different, out of the box. So we got some really, really cool ideas, and this is where a lot of the pro players that are not in the EU come in. We are able to offer pro player training. So if you wanted to have a moment with a player that you really respect, someone that has an insight to a brawler that you really want to learn and master, you will have that opportunity. You will have that opportunity to learn from the best. I love this because it not only funds the prize pool, but it also goes back to the player. It will be 50-50 until we hit our baseline target goal for the prize pool, which is $1,000. The Matcherino is in the description. Go check it out. There's some really, really other cool stuff, but I'll try to keep it brief because we're running out of time. So once we hit our baseline goal of $1,000 to the prize pool, the percentage splits for the pro player coaching incentive are going to change to 70% in favor of the player. So 70% of your donation will go directly to the player of your choice, and we think that's just such a great way to give back to the best players in Brawl Stars. It is not restricted to just the EU. We want this incentive to be involving so many of you all, and I really can't wait to see how that all turns out. We want to support the players. We want to give them back not just something for their time, but also along the way in terms of training, support. It's just something that we're really excited to be able to offer, and a huge thanks to Supercell for helping us to arrange that and to give us permission to do that, because it's not something that you see every day, but that is what makes us so unique. So how is this all going to go? We're going to hold a qualifier invitational over the next few weeks for players and teams that have shown an outstanding contribution to our community so far. So 4 of those teams will go directly into the weekly league, and 4 will go into an open qualifier, which is where you guys can get involved. So they'll have a second chance to qualify, and they'll be mixed in amongst 24 public teams on a first come, first served basis. Probably restrictions will be in place regarding age and trophies for seeding and that kind of stuff, but it'll be 28 teams then, and we'll have 4 teams as a latecomers pick. One thing I need to say that I feel is just so often overlooked with these things is that this would have all never been possible without the best team of people behind it, supporting it, guiding it, getting us to where we are today. That is what the Match Arena will go a long way in helping us achieve, is to give back to those people, to pay our staff, to show how much we've appreciated that support at the most pinnacle time to grow. Kana has been an absolute godsend from Tribe, picking up my calls, bouncing creative ideas for assets, for logos, all that stuff. Spider, for someone so young to be so driven, so professional, so passionate about esports. Eric, aka Easy Justice, has built our Discord and provided us the infrastructure, the very thing that we need to grow our community. Cerulean named the league. Spen, Trav, Monkey, Drage, Corey, Superside, Tom. All these pro players have had a massive amount of input into getting us to where we are. I cannot say how grateful I am for everything that they've done, for being with me at my side for the last 6 months. Honestly, it's been the craziest journey. I couldn't have done it without all of their support.